Hello BookTube, welcome back to my bookshelf tours and we're moving on today. This is going to be the 1800s bookshelf. This case is stacked because for me, the 1800s is easily my favorite century of writing, like literally ever. You know, throw a dart and you've hit a classic, literally. But before we get to those intimidating shelves right here, I'm going to show you what I have on top because I have like an old TV like box thing that's mounted to the wall because I don't watch TV, so I was like, I'll just get rid of like the DVD player or whatever and just put books there. So before we get to the 1800s, I do have some stuff I want to show you. I do have a copy of Moby Dick. This is the Chilton edition. All of these editions look ugly to me because they have like flowers and all that, but this is like the exception. It's got gold and it's incredible and I love it so much. It's like a brick. The pages are like not laminated, but they've got they're just stronger than normal paper, and I love this one. Then we have a hardcover of Catcher in the Rye, everyone's favorite book, but I do love it. We have a collected works of one of my favorite writers ever, Flannery O'Connor. Then we have some Hilary Mantel, The Assassination of Margaret Thatcher and Other Stories. I haven't read this, or Mantel pieces here. These two I haven't read because I also have all three of the Wolf Hall novels. I read these as a teen. I remember when The Mirror and the Light came out and I read it and I loved it. I haven't read the trilogy or since then, but I was like, oh, I have these two as well. I may as well, when I reread the Wolf Hall books, I'll get to those two books as well. But it's been years since I've read Mantel, and I feel like she would still be a favorite, to be honest, because she's just so great. But anyway, let's actually start with the 1800s. So I go chronologically. It's a pain to do, but I find it so fun. So if there are any books that are out of order, please let me know. And especially now, because we're getting to obviously novels rather than just collected works in verse, like we saw in the ancient world or in the early novels in the 1700s. So let's start. So the first author we have here, and I haven't looked at these in ages. I could get lost looking at this shelf. It's just, every book's amazing here. We have Lord Byron, The Major Works by Oxford. What do you mean to say about Lord Byron? He's literally so iconic. If you want to know what I have randomly tabbed here, because I actually can't remember, I have Don Juan and I have Child Harold's Pilgrimage. I haven't read Byron in so long, but he's always good to have around. I think in terms of the romantics, he kind of is my favorite. It's either him or I could even say Wordsworth, if I'm being a bit. I don't know if that's controversial because I think when Wordsworth's at his best, it's iconic and I love it so much. But then he has a lot of filler too, where I think Byron, because he lives so shortly, you get nothing but hits. But because Wordsworth lives so long, you kind of get a bit of duds here and there. But then we have, speaking of a classic, A Pickle of the Knowing Ones by Timothy Dexter. If you don't know who Timothy Dexter is, he lived one of the most insane lives ever. This is his book about philosophy and life, and I don't even know what he's going on about. This edition does have all the punctuation he left at the bottom, just to spite people. If you don't know this book, know it because it's one of my favorites, and I done a Holy Sunday on it many months ago. But I have that, and I refer to that as every good thinking person should do. I can't even get it back in. Then we have Goethe's Faust. I haven't read Faust in years. It's about time I get back to it. Same as Sorrows of Young Werther, but it's Faust. I liked it. It's not my favorite Goethe. I still think I prefer Sorrows, but you know, it's still really good. Then we have a brick here, and that is the Barnes and Noble collected works of Jane Austen here. I love this so much. This is the only Austen novels I have. I used to have a lot more, but I was like, to a certain point, I was like, I don't need all of this, especially for English classics. Like, it's not like I need them for like translation or whatever. And so I have this one. I love the introduction here. It's incredible, and I've been reading it because there's a big big reading event of all of Jane Austen in 2026, and we just done Sensibility in July, and not July, January, sorry. And I'm doing Sense and Sensibility's Sea Monsters right now, and so that's fun. And then March will be Pride and Prejudice, which will be a bit of a miss because I'm not the biggest Pride and Prejudice girly, but I can't wait to do Pride and Prejudice Zombies in April. So, but we'll see how we go. But I always read from this here, and then we have put it back. Just Jane Austen's Juvenilia. I've read Lady Susan and Sanditon. I haven't read the Watsons yet, and I know she's done a lot of other stuff. I just haven't gotten to it yet. I'm kind of like, oh, I'll just stick to the novels and all that. Then we have a personal favorite here. This is the major works of Percy Shelley. I love Shelley. Incredibly interesting and weird writer. I have tabbed here Adonis. I don't know if that's how you say it. I have that's just some random sonnet just there, and Queen Mab. So I have those two as well. But I love Percy Shelley. I haven't again read these in years, but I feel such a call to. But yeah, it's weird how I never really went back to the romantics for some reason. I don't know why. Then we have a personal favorite, and that's the complete prose tales of Pushkin. Pushkin can do no wrong. He's one of my favorite writers to ever live. So Walter Scott's Waverley, incredible writer. We love Sir Walter Scott on this channel. I'm amazed looking now. I don't have Waverley. I'm missing that one, but I do have Keats. I have his complete poems, of course. I also have, hold on, Rob Roy, of course. We love that one. Then we have Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I used to have the revised edition, but I realized I didn't like the revised, and her introduction literally didn't do anything for me, so I just kept the original as it should be, to be honest. So, but I do love Frankenstein. So we have that. Then we also have The Vampire by John Polidori, and just some other tales and all that stuff. I love The Vampire. It's not the most scariest thing ever, and it is blown out the water by what would come later with like Camilla and Dracula and all that, but it's interesting to see, at least in English, where a vampire lore did start, and I kind of find that really cool. Then we have Ivanhoe by Sir Walter Scott. Well, it's iconic. I love it so much. And then we have a random little black classic here. This is, again, another Mary Shelley. This is Matilda. We have that. Then we have Thomas Nicholson, Owen Chase, and others. The loss of the ship Essex that was sunk by a whale. The whaling disaster that influenced Melville to write Moby Dick. I saw this as a Penguin Black and I was like, oh my god, I didn't know they'd done that. But I do have that too. And I did love reading it, to be honest. It's so fun. Then we have Mammoth the Warrior, the Wanderer, sorry, Charles, I can't say his name, Maturin or whatever. I haven't read this one yet. I always forget about it, but I have it and I want to get to it at some point. Then we have a personal favorite writer, Thomas de Quincey, Confessions of an English Opium Eater. Iconic. I love this so much. It's so weird, and pretty much for me is the reason I will never try opium, because of what he experiences in here. And so yeah, I have that. I've got Stantel's Love. And what else do we have here? I've got some Mary Shelley coming up. We have more of her. Valperga. Just some of her other, these are the books she wrote after Frankenstein, obviously, and she does a lot of historical fiction, which I think is really underrated. But speaking of a Mary Shelley book that you should read, I'm going to say The Last Man. This is her doing post-apocalyptic fiction, and it's just incredible. It is a bit dense, but I don't care. I love it so much. I'm so due for a reread of it, to be honest. So we have that. Then we have, again, Thomas de Quincey on murder, one of my favorite essays ever. It is insane, but I kind of love it at the same time. So we have that. Then we have Alfred Lord Tennyson. This is just the works. This is by Wordsworth. So I have that. Because I never found the Penguin or the Oxford of that. But again, more Sandtail, The Red and the Black, a classic, everyone knows that. Then we hit Balzac, because I have never read him, like, ever, but I have so many of his books, because he's one of those authors where you see him and you're like, oh, I'll pick him up because I've heard of him for so much, but then you never get to him, and we're going to see a lot of him coming up, trust me. We have The Wild Arthur Skin. We have that. We have Victor Hugo, the Notre Dame, Hunchback of Notre Dame, which is a far better novel than Les Mis. We'll see Les Mis later, but Hunchback of Notre Dame just blows Les Mis out the water for me. For me, Hunchback is like a literal perfect novel, and I love it so much, and I'm so due for a reread of it. Then we have a complete works of Robert Browning. Again, we love Robert Browning. Haven't read these in ages. Next we have some more Balzac. Randomly, this is The Girl with the Golden Eyes and other stories. Then we have my lovely Pushkin, Eugenie Onegin, of course. I love these Oxford covers, like the big pastel paintings. Oh, love them so much. They're so cute. And then I obviously have The Queen of Spades and other stories, and this is just crack. Pushkin he's on another level. I can't tell you how much I love Pushkin. Then we have more Mary Shelley. This is Lodore. This is some more of her historical fiction. Again, not published by any of the big classic reprints. I just found this online. So we have that. Then we have more Balzac. This is Old Man Gright, or whatever it is. I haven't read this. Again, I want to get to Balzac. Hopefully I like him, to be honest. But then we have the iconic Gogol. We love Gogol, one of the great short story writers. Tabbed this up a bit, and he's just incredible. And then we have a little author here that you may have heard of, but officially he makes his entry into the world of novels, and that is Mr. Dahl's Chickens, if you know that reference. This is the Pickwick Papers, one of probably top 3 Dickens for me. It's either Pickwick Papers, Tale of Two Cities, or Our Mutual Friend, but Pickwick Papers may be second. And the more I think about Tale of Two Cities, the more I don't kind of like it as much. But I do have a soft spot for the Pickwick Papers. It's like the only time the real Dickensian style like literally ever worked for me. But so I do have the Pickwick Papers. And then to end this bit of a top shelf here, we have a side stack so everything doesn't fall. And here we have, I'll pull it out, we have, I'll show you, move these out the way. We've got Oliver Twist here in like this, what are they called? The Penguin English Library. I don't know, I still kept all of my Dickens because I go back to Dickens, but I hate Oliver Twist with a passion. I think it's so just pain to read. Not as bad as some of these other books like David Copperfield, but we do have that. Then we got The Betrothed, of course. I haven't read this one yet. I want to get to it. Again, a French classic I just haven't gotten to. Then we have Dickens' second novel, Nicholas Nickleby, of course. Not my favorite, but it's, if you like Dickens, you'll love Nicholas Nickleby. Then we have the complete works of Henry W. Longfellow. Again, I pretty much know him because he translated Dante, and I haven't dipped into his other works as much, but again, he's here, ready to go, so I have him as well. And then we have Stantell again, the Charterhouse of Parma. I haven't read this one yet. I know I've always heard that you're either a red or a black girly or a Charterhouse of Parma, and I just split between the two, and I need to read the Charterhouse of Parma, so I don't know where I am yet. And then the last book on this stack in the shelf right here is The Voyage of the Beagle, which is Charles Darwin's book on traveling around the world to write Origin of the Species, which is incredible and a lovely place to start. Don't start with Origin of the Species, start with his travel writings. I find that to be a way more engaging place to start for Charles Darwin, but this is so fun. And so that's the first shelf. We have so much to get through. So pretty much this shelf here you're seeing is double stacked. And I have old tissue boxes that I place here so I can, have one row in the back that's higher than I have one on the bottom. But I move those bottom ones down. And so let's talk about, so we're still in chronological order. Next we have more Dahl's Chickens, the old curiosity shop, a mid book, but I still have it. And we start to get more Russian stuff here. A hero of our time, love, love, love. We're very much fed here. We have more Balzac. I can't say this one here because I can't speak French, but we have that. Then we have more Dickens. Barnaby Rudge, his first historical novel, which was fine, really, a bit too long. And then we have Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. I prefer his short stories, but I can see how people love Dead Souls. I would be interested to see if he finished it, what the novel really would have been with the ending, but I like Dead Souls, it's good. Next, we have Martin Chuzzlewit. I never laughed once during this book, but I still have it. I never think about Martin Chuzzlewit, that's the thing, it's just gone from my mind. Then we have Fear and Trembling, which I read but I can't remember because it's been years. Then we're about to hit some iconically fun books, and you can't tell me otherwise. We have The Three Musketeers by Dumas. Last year I read all of The Three Musketeers, like all of them, even 10 years later, which was split into the 3 volumes, but you can't go wrong with The Three Musketeers. One of the greatest books ever written in my mind. Then we have more Dumas. This is, I can't say it again, it's in French, but more historical novels from him I haven't read, but I really want to. Then we have the great sequel to The Three Musketeers, 20 years later. Iconic, it's fierce, I love it so much. These translations that Oxford does of the Three Musketeers series are very old, and I kind of like that, and so I'm hoping one day if I ever see the Oxford Three Musketeers, and I'll see if it has an older translation, and I'll get that instead and just trade out, because that Penguin one I showed has more of a modern translation, and it doesn't really match with the other ones, but anyway, we'll think about that when I see it. Then we have the Brontes kicking in. The Professor by Charlotte Bronte. I've ranked all the Brontes, go check out that video. I like the Professor, it's a bit mid, it gets lost in all of the greatness of the Brontes, especially when you compare it to this little novel called Jane Eyre. I love Jane Eyre. I'm always confused on what my favourite Bronte novel is. I really couldn't tell you. Even in my Bronte ranking video, I struggled so hard, and I still do. So if you ever see me in public, please don't ask me my favourite Bronte novel, because I'll shut down, like I could not tell you. But then we have, right after such a great book like Jane Eyre, we have Dombey and Son, which is a bit interesting, but way too bloated for its own good. Then we have more Balzac. We have that one. Then we have an absolute weapon of a book, The Count of Monte Cristo. I read this book twice, love it so much. Could it be edited down? Of course it could, but compare this to Les Mis, and oh my god, it's night and day. Count is so much better than Les Mis, and I will take no wrong opinions on that. Next we have Dostoevsky. He enters the picture here. This is Poor Folk and Other Stories, which I love. Melville also makes his debut during this time with Typee. Iconic, we love. We have some more Dumas here. This is more historical stuff right here. I think this is, no, sorry, that's the third book in the Three Musketeers, 10 years later. So we have that. Then we have, oh my god, these are out of order. This one here, this is part 2 of 10 years later. And then we have The Man in the Iron Mask, which ends the Three Musketeers journey. Could it have been longer? Yes, I could have kept on going forever, but I feel like the 10 years later, it really starts to become more just a historical novel rather than focusing on the Three Musketeers' journey like they did in the first two books. But, I don't care. Dumas can do anything. So we have that. And then we have, of course, Wuthering Heights, which I love. Love. Read it, I don't even know how many times at this point. The complete poems of Emily Bronte, too, if you feel a bit moody. Then we have Agnes Grey, which I love Anne Bronte. I love The Tenant of Wildfell Hall so much. But then we have here more Balzac. We're still going. This is the Harriet High and Low. I don't know what this one is, but I just have it, to be honest. Then we have The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. This was my favourite Bronte novel growing up, and I literally don't know why. I still love it. I think the rage in this novel is so interesting and incredible. I do think it kind of stumbles a bit compared to Wuthering Heights and Jane Eyre, but I still have a very soft spot in my heart for The Tenant. I still really love it. Next we have more Alexander Dumas, but this is his son. I have a collection of stuff by him. We're still going. We have next Vanity Fair by William Makepeace Thackeray. I've never read Vanity Fair. It's like one of the big Victorian books I just haven't gotten to yet. But maybe I'll save it for this Victoria book in 2026. So we have that. Then we have an all-time favourite. This is a fierce book, in my opinion, and that is Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. I'm an Elizabeth Gaskell diehard fan. She can do no wrong. Check out my ranking of her books. I love it so much. Mary Barton is, oh my god, it's incredible. Shirley by Charlotte Bronte. Love. Then we hit one of the worst books ever written, in my opinion, and that is David Copperfield. I don't even want to... The fact that that's next to Shirley and Mary Barton is just so upsetting to me. But we have that. Then we have The Black Tulip by Dumas, which I haven't read yet, so I want to get to that soon. Then we have the first entry of an American author. You're not going to see many American authors in here, but just because I don't have as many. But we have The Scarlet Letter. I swear, I think I have The Marble Fawn as well. But then we have Moby Dick, of course. Fierce, we love Moby Dick. This probably is my favourite book ever, but I don't know. Then we end this top shelf here with Elizabeth Gaskell's Gothic Tales, which are always fun to read in October. And let's do the final row. So we'll put this row back together, and that should be enough for today. But let's keep on going. So the next book we have is Bleak House by Mr. Dahl's Chickens. If this book was literally cut by 400 pages, it would have been one of his best books, but it's here. I'll go back to it eventually. And then we have Ivan Turgenev, one of my favorite writers ever. This is Sketches from a Hunter's album, one of the great short story collections in my opinion. Incredible. I haven't read Turgenev in so long. Little Dorrit, which I actually do kind of like. So we're starting to get the Dickens novels I can tolerate more. Then we have George Eliot, just a selected non-fiction. So fierce. It's incredible. And then we have Villette by Charlotte Bronte. People hate Villette. I don't care. I love Villette. I will happily admit I love Villette. I feel like some of these are out of order. That's okay. Then we have Elizabeth Gaskell again. This is Cranford and Cousin Phillips. I love Cranford. We have more Gaskell. This is Ruth. People hate on Ruth. I get how it's very boring and dry, but I don't care. Elizabeth Gaskell can do no wrong. I'm very much standing right now. We have Hard Times by Dickens, which I actually kind of do like. Again, because it's short and it doesn't have any illustrations in it, which is a bit interesting. Collected Poems of Walt Whitman. I've never read Whitman. I just haven't gotten to him yet. The only things I've read by Whitman is his secret weird love letters he wrote to Bram Stoker. But I do have that. Then we got one of the great novels ever written, and that is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. The socialist Pride and Prejudice. I'm going to say this. North and South is a better novel than Pride and Prejudice. I've said what I said. I love it more. The Warden by Anthony Trollope, of course, we love. We hit Gustave Flaubert, Madame Bovary. I love. We got a bit of Flaubert here. Then we have George Eliot entering the scene here with Scenes of a Clerical Life, which is always, it's not our best, but it's fine. Barchester Towers by Trollope. Then we have The Life of Charlotte Bronte by Elizabeth Gaskell. I haven't read this yet. Considering how much I love the Brontes and Gaskell, the fact I haven't gotten to this is a crime, but I will get to it because, yeah. Dr. Fawn by Anthony Trollope, I haven't read yet. Adam Bede by George Eliot. People have slammed this book, and I kind of agree with it, especially the start of it is very boring and dry. But when it gets to the trial at the end, I was literally in tears for some reason. I was crying at work, and yeah, it's a memorable experience. Then we have A Tale of Two Cities by Darl's Chickens. Obanov by this man. One of the great Russian novels. I love it so much. More George Eliot. This is The Lifted Veil and Brother Jacob. Bit forgettable for me compared to everything else, but The Lifted Veil is a very weird story for George Eliot and something that I thought she would have never written, considering her other novels. Then we have Charles Darwin's Origin on the Species. What do we say? It's iconic. Then we have Wilkie Collins, The Woman in White. Now, I used to have a lot more Wilkie Collins. I've read a decent bit, probably like 5 of his novels. I've only ever liked The Woman in White. I can do The Law and the Lady too, but the Moonstone, Basil. I can't remember all of them now, but Arabella and all that just don't do much for me. So I do have a Wilkie Collins here. So we have that, and maybe we'll see another Wilkie Collins pop up. But then we again have The Marble Faun by Nathaniel Hawthorne, which is amazing. We're nearly there. We have the complete poems of Emily Dickinson, which I've tabbed up and I love. I have a soft spot for Emily Dickinson. Even though I haven't read her in so long, it's been ages. We're still going. Mill on the Floss by George Eliot. Love it. It's a story that will sweep you away like a mighty flood. We have Great Expectations by Mr. Darl's Chickens. It's fine. It's the first classic for me that was like, not every classic is great. And that's what Great Expectations is for me. I've read it twice. I'm like, that sure was a novel. And anyway, Anthony Trollope, Family Parsonage too. We have that. The House of the Dead by Dostoevsky's Prison Writings. Traumatizing and it's emotionally a lot, but it's really great reading too. We have East Lynne by Ellen Wood. This was a Victober favorite for so long, but then it just really just went out and no one ever talks about it anymore. But I still have it and I still really loved it. This is probably one of the first Victorian books I read. I relate to this lady so much in this story where I'm never going to be like her. But yeah, East Lynne, bring it back for Victober. I miss it. So we have that. Then we have Silas Marner by George Eliot, a book that never clicked with me, but maybe if I keep rereading it, it eventually will. Then we have this massive brick, this thing called Les Mis. I've read it once in high school because I wanted to see if I could do it. It's very boring. I remember the tedious bits. Victor Hugo is literally a walking encyclopedia. The story probably is great, but it's just not for me at all. Why do this? Why do Les Mis when I can do Dumas like literally any day of the week? So we have Les Mis, which is a massive brick there. Then we have some short stuff. We have more Flaubert. Salamambo, a bit of a risky cover there. So we have that too, which I liked. It's probably not my favorite of him. I still think I prefer Sentimental Education as my favorite Flaubert. Then we have Fathers and Sons by Turgenev. Classic. We love Turgenev. He can do no wrong. Then more Trollope, The Small House at Allington. I haven't read this one yet. And then the last book I have for you today is Romola by George Eliot. I love Romola so much. George Eliot can be dry for some people, but imagine taking that dryness and slamming it into the Italian Renaissance and the books about church politics mostly, and you get Romola. I love it. George Eliot said this was her favorite book too that she wrote, and it's not my favorite of hers, but it could easily be top three, by being a bit honest. And so yeah, Romola is what we're ending on today, and that is the first half of my 1800s bookshelf. We've still got two more shelves to go through at some point. But yeah, let me know what you think about the books I've talked about today. And yeah, thank you so much for watching BookTube, and I will see you next time.